Hi everyone, this is Mr. Cervone. Welcome to my math channel. In today's lesson, we'll be learning about how to construct parallel lines. So let's get started with the following problem. Draw a line through point P and parallel to line L. Justify your construction. Okay, so let's get to this now. So in this specific exercise, we want to draw a line through point P and parallel to line L, and then justify our construction. So the first thing we want to do here is to draw a line that goes through point P and also through line L. So the line can be at a random angle. Okay, so let's draw a line here like this. Okay, so let's label the line as line K so we can refer to it during the lesson. Now notice that the angle here is acute, but again, this is up to you. You can actually pick any angle you like. Okay, so the idea here is to draw another line that is parallel to L by using the theorem of corresponding angles. So let's do that. In order to do this, we need to copy this angle over here to P. So as we learned in the previous lesson, the first thing we want to do is place the compass at this point. So let's call that point R. So let's label that point. And, once we place the compass here, as we learned, we, to copy the angle, we need to first draw an arc such that it intersects both of these lines, line L and line K. Now, keeping the same exact width or radius on the compass, we go to point P and draw another arc. So the only thing, we need to make sure that this arc intersects the line. So what we can do here is actually extend this line, okay? And let's say it intersects at this point, okay? So let me call that point A. So what we want to do here is measure the distance between these 2 points, okay? So let's call these points C and D. All right, so if we measure the distance here, then we're able to copy the angle. So here we have the distance from C to D with the compass. Then we go to A and draw another arc, okay? So that point over here, let's label that point B. Okay, so the final step is simply connecting P and B and extend it in both directions, okay? So I'm going to call that line M. Okay, so this is basically it. This is how we draw a line through P and parallel to line L. So at this point, let's justify our construction. So in order to justify this construction, let's start with a statement reason table. Okay, once we have the statement reason table, we should also think about, okay, what is given here and what are we trying to prove? Well, here we're given line L and point P not on line L. So what was the first thing we did here? Well, we drew a transversal K, right? So let's write that in. Okay, so the next step, we drew a line K through point P and line L. Now afterwards, we were able to draw an arc through points C and D, and also through points A and B. We kept the same exact radius. So if we look at the diagram, we know that this segment must be congruent to this segment. So let's write that in. Okay, so here we have segment RD congruent to segment PB because radii of congruent circles are congruent. Similarly, we can also say that this segment here, segment RC, is congruent to segment PA. And that is exactly the same reason. Okay, so afterwards, we measured the distance from C to D and copied it over from A to B. So if we draw a line here, let's say a line from C to D as shown, and a line from A to B, then what can we say about those two segments? Well, these two segments must be congruent as well. And that's the same reason as number 3. So let's write that in. Okay, so what do we notice at this point? Well, we can say that that triangle RCD is congruent to triangle PAB because of the SSS postulate. Now, since both triangles are congruent, so here we can say that angle CRD congruent to angle APB because of corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Notice that here these two angles are created by two lines in a transversal. So that means that these corresponding angles, since they are congruent, that the lines L and M must be parallel. So let's write that in the statement reason table now. So our last step would be that line L is parallel to line M, because if two lines are cut by a transversal and corresponding angles are congruent, then the two lines are parallel. And this basically proves it, that this construction always will yield parallel lines. And this is how you justify every construction. You can again use either a theorem, a postulate, or definitions, or even better, a statement reason table. Okay, so that's basically it for today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.